All right, so are you ready for a real head scratcher? Because today we are diving deep into Manchester City's Champions League run. And, well, it's been anything but smooth sailing.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one, isn't it?
It is.
You've got this team that's been a dominant force, for the last few years.
Sure.
And yet they just barely squeaked into the knockout round.
I know.
I mean, 22nd in their group.
Doesn't sound like the Man City that we've come to expect.
Not at all.
It's, I even had them down as potential winners.
Yeah.
Going into this.
Yeah.
So we've got some great analysis to dig into today. We've got expert commentary from a post-game show after that nail-biter against Club Brugge.
Yep.
And we've got a sports news article that really breaks down their performance.
Awesome.
The question is, though, can Man City pull off a miracle and, kind of rediscover that championship swagger in time to face giants like Real Madrid or Bayern Munich?
Well, that's the million-dollar question.
Sure.
And I'll tell you, the commentators on the post-game show were abuzz with this question. They were shocked, almost, in disbelief at how vulnerable Man City looked on the pitch. It's like that aura of invincibility that they used to have has just kind of faded.
Yeah.
And now their opponents are sensing a real opportunity.
It's like your favorite band that suddenly puts out a new album and it's just not good.
It just doesn't hit the same way.
Yeah, you're left wondering, can they ever recapture that old magic?
Yeah, are they ever going to get back to that sound?
So what is behind this sudden dip in form?
Well,
the experts threw out a bunch of theories.
Yeah, the experts threw out a ton of theories.
What do you think?
One of the most compelling to me, I think, is fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. Man City has been at the top of their game for years, consistently competing for that Champions League title.
They're always there.
That level of intensity, the pressure to win year after year, it takes a toll.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Have you ever poured your heart and soul into something?
Oh, yeah.
You achieve a big goal and then suddenly it's like all the energy is gone. Yeah. Like the drive just vanishes.
Yeah. That's the worst. It's like, what now?
Yeah, it's like, I don't even...
Yeah.
But Man City's struggles go beyond just being tired.
Right.
They've also been hit hard by injuries.
They have.
Especially the loss of Rodri in midfield.
That's a massive blow. And the commentators really didn't mince words about it.
What'd they say?
They were calling it a crisis in leadership.
Oh, wow.
Because, you see, Rodri is more than just a talented player. He's a leader on the pitch.
Right.
He's the one who dictates the tempo. He's the one who keeps everyone organized.
So, yeah, his absence really throws a wrench in things.
Yeah.
But there's another twist to all this that's got everyone talking. The new Champions League format. They've expanded the number of matches, which, on the surface seems like a good thing, more football, right?
Sure.
But some experts are actually arguing that it's hurting the quality of play. What do you make of that?
It's a really intriguing argument. It's like when your favorite little restaurant expands.
Oh, yeah.
And suddenly the food's not as good.
Oh, I hate that. It happens every time.
The expansion brings in more money, sure.
Yeah.
But it might dilute the core product. So in this case, you've got UEFA and the teams obviously benefiting financially from these extra matches.
Right.
But maybe at the expense of the intensity and, that do or die feel of every match.
That cup final feeling.
Exactly.
Do you think the old Champions League format with its, higher stakes and fewer matches produced a more intense and exciting competition?
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thought.
I think so.
Has the new format changed how you experience these big tournaments?
It has for me a little bit.
It has a bit.
It's almost like it's a little bit watered down.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's not quite as special.
Yeah. But anyway, in the midst of all this doom and gloom about Man City, there is at least a glimmer of hope in their victory against Club Brugge.
Yeah, that's right. They pulled off a 3-1 win.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, it was anything but straightforward.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. The article described their first half performance as lethargic and uninspired. And get this, Club Brugge actually stunned them with a goal right before halftime.
No way.
Yeah, leaving the home crowd in shock.
Oh, I bet that was tense.
Oh, yeah.
But Man City, they came roaring back in the second half.
They did.
My Mateo Kovacic with a crucial goal.
Yeah.
And then substitute Savinho came on and completely changed the game.
Yeah. He was electric when he came on.
Wow.
Savinho was the spark they needed.
Yeah.
He injected energy and creativity, forced an own goal, and then scored a brilliant goal himself.
Oh, wow.
And, his impact just highlights Pep Guardiola's tactical flexibility.
Yeah.
Even when things aren't going to plan.
He's a genius.
He is.
It's fascinating, though, because the commentators, they pointed out that even with all of Man City's struggles, no team wants to face them in the knockout stage.
Yeah.
They still have that reputation.
They still have that legacy of dominance.
Exactly.
It still hangs over them.
But reputation alone isn't going to be enough against, the likes of Real Madrid or Bayern Munich.
Oh, no.
So the big question is, how can they bridge the gap between their current form and their championship aspirations?
Right.
And the commentators dove into that debate head first.
They did.
So they were going back and forth about whether Man City needs to spend big in January to fix their problems.
Yeah.
Do they need to bolster their squad? Or are the solutions already within the team?
I mean, it's so tempting to think that splashing cash is the answer.
Yes. Buy your way out.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure.
Okay.
Let's break down their current starting at Grime.
Okay.
You got John Stones, back from injury, a world-class defender.
Yeah.
But they have Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
Arguably the best striker in the world.
Yeah.
Who was surprisingly quiet in this particular match.
Interesting point. So even with these star players, there are gaps.
There are still gaps.
What about the commentators' concerns about the right fullback and center back positions?
Oh, yeah.
Does that weaken their defense?
Absolutely. They are clearly vulnerable in those areas. But I think throwing money at the problem might not address the underlying issues here. Things like tactical cohesion, team spirit, that hunger to win. It's more than just plugging holes with expensive signings.
Yeah, you're not just assembling like a fantasy football team.
No.
Right.
It's about chemistry. It's about all those intangibles.
And this brings us, I think, to the Pep Guardiola factor.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a managerial legend.
He is.
But even the best coaches face challenges.
Right.
The commentators were curious, can he work his magic and turn things around?
Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone's waiting to see. But what's fascinating to me is that Guardiola actually seems to have shifted Man City's style of play.
Really?
Yeah, they're not dominating possession.
Oh, wow.
And dictating the tempo like they used to.
Interesting. It's like they've lost their identity.
Yeah.
That unmistakable Man City DNA.
Right.
Yeah. But maybe this is Guardiola adapting, evolving his tactics to meet these new challenges.
Maybe.
It's a risky move.
It is.
But it could be a stroke of genius.
It could be.
Who knows?
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. So we've got this kind of tactical puzzle, a team with immense potential.
Yeah.
But they're struggling to find their rhythm. It's almost like watching a high wire act where the performers lost their balance.
Yeah.
Can they regain their footing before it's too late?
Yeah. It's a captivating dilemma. You've got this clash of narratives, Yeah. The recent struggles against the backdrop of their incredible legacy. It's almost like a Shakespearean tragedy.
Oh, wow.
Where the hero is battling their inner demons.
I like that.
Yeah.
So the commentators kept coming back to this idea of a mentality shift that's needed. Like maybe the players have become a little too comfortable with success.
I mean, that's the classic trap for any champion, right? You reach the pinnacle and suddenly that hunger, that relentless drive, it starts to fade. You expect victory instead of fighting tooth and nail for it.
It's almost like you take it for granted.
Yeah. You just assume it's going to happen and you don't put in the same level of effort. And the commentators were pointing to specific moments in matches.
Really?
Where Man City just seemed to lack that spark, that ruthless efficiency that defined their dominance.
Yeah, like they were going through the motions.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when a band releases a hit album and then they try to recreate that same magic on the next one and it just doesn't translate.
It just doesn't work. It's like a lightning in a bottle kind of thing.
So how do they recapture that hunger? Is it a personnel issue? Is it tactical?
Right.
Or is it a little bit of both?
I mean, that is the million-dollar question.
It is.
If it's simply about tweaking the lineup or adjusting the formation, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if it's a deeper issue of motivation and team spirit,
yeah,
that's a much harder fix.
Yeah.
And that's where Pep Guardiola's leadership really comes into play.
He's the maestro.
He is.
The one who orchestrates everything. The commentators were debating, whether he needs to shake things up.
Yeah.
Maybe try some unconventional tactics or give some younger players a shot. But wouldn't that risk disrupting the team chemistry that they're trying to rebuild?
It's a gamble, for sure. But sometimes you need a bold move to break out of a rut. Think about a time when you were part of a team or a project that felt stuck.
Oh, yeah.
What sparked the change?
Right.
Was it a new leader, a fresh perspective, or maybe even a crisis that forced everyone to rethink their approach?
I mean, sometimes a shakeup is exactly what's needed.
Yeah.
Speaking of challenges, let's not forget who Man City might be facing in the knockout stage. Real Madrid or Bayern Munich?
Oh, boy.
I mean, those are some daunting prospects.
Yeah, the commentators were practically salivating at the thought of those matchups.
Of course.
It's the kind of clash that gets every football fan's heart racing.
Yeah.
But for Man City in their current form,
yeah,
it could be a nightmare.
It's like stepping into the ring with the heavyweight champion when you've got a sprained ankle.
Yeah, it's a huge mismatch. And those teams are playing at an incredible level right now.
Yeah.
They're hungry, they're organized, and they have that winning mentality that is so hard to beat.
It really is.
For Man City to stand a chance against those giants, they need a complete transformation.
Like a metamorphosis.
Yeah, they need to rediscover that fluidity, that confidence, that almost telepathic understanding that made them champions. And they need to do it fast because the knockout stage is just around the corner.
Yeah, it's like a superhero who's lost their powers and has to find a way to get them back before the final battle.
Exactly.
So let's put ourselves in Pep Guardiola's shoes for a moment.
Okay.
Imagine you're the manager of this incredibly talented but struggling team. You've got limited time to turn things around.
Yeah.
What would you do? So would you stick with the current squad, believing in their ability to bounce back? Or would you make some drastic changes, shake up the starting lineup, maybe even bring in some new players during the transfer window?
I mean, it's a tough call, isn't it? You have to balance that potential for growth with the risk of disrupting the team's chemistry even further.
Yeah. And then there's the tactical side of things, too. Do you stick with that possession-based style that's become synonymous with Man City, or do you try something completely different, maybe a more defensive approach, a counterattacking strategy?
Yeah, the commentators were split on this.
Yeah.
Some argued that Man City needs to stay true to their identity, double down on what made them successful in the first place.
Right.
They suggested that the recent struggles are more about execution than a fundamentally flawed system.
So it's almost like a musician who's hit a creative block. Do they force themselves to stick with their signature sound, or they branch out and experiment with something new?
Yeah, and there's that risk of losing what made them special in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. It's a balancing act,
Yes, it is.
between staying true to your roots and adapting to the ever-changing demands of the game.
For sure.
And ultimately, it's Pep Guardiola who has to make those tough decisions.
He does.
I mean, he's not just managing a team, he's managing expectations, legacies, a global brand. The pressure must be immense.
Oh, yeah.
The whole football world is watching to see what he does next.
They are.
Will he pull off another masterstroke?
We'll see. So we've explored Man City's Champions League journey, from their surprising struggles to those, glimmers of hope and the looming challenges ahead.
We have.
We've analyzed the factors at play, considered the potential solutions, and highlighted that, pivotal role of Pep Guardiola.
For sure.
Now it's your turn. What's your take on all of this? Do you think Man City can rediscover their dominance and make a deep run in the knockout stage?
Or will they become another cautionary tale,
Yeah.
A team that peaked too soon? This is where we leave you with more questions than answers. But that's the beauty of football, isn't it?
It is.
It's unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's passionate, and it keeps us on the edge of our seats. What do you think Pep Guardiola's next move should be? Head over to our social media pages and let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts and predictions. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.